Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany. So in this video today, I thought I would talk about some of the unspoken or unwritten rules you should know about if you come to Germany. So one of the most challenging things for me as a New Zealander living here has been trying to figure out the cultural and social subtleties. What is considered rude, what's not considered rude, what's considered socially acceptable, what is not socially acceptable. This can be super challenging for anybody moving to a new country, and I've heard the same thing about Germans in New Zealand. We also have a lot of unspoken, unwritten rules in New Zealand, and a lot of Germans have said to me that they struggle to figure these out. And same goes with living in Germany. There are so many little things that Germans instinctively know, and us foreigners have to learn, sometimes the hard way. So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about this and sharing some of the mistakes I've made, and maybe this will help you in the future. Okay, so in no particular order, an unspoken rule here in Germany is to follow through with what you say, especially if you're making plans. So as a New Zealander in my country, we are pretty casual. We can be pretty spontaneous and last minute when it comes to making plans. It's pretty normal just to ring a friend and say, what are you doing in half an hour? Do you want to catch up for a coffee? Or sometimes we don't make plans at all. We'll just rock up to a friend's place and expect to just hang out there. This is not the case in Germany. This is pretty socially unacceptable. Germans really appreciate being given a good amount of notice when it comes to making plans. So for example, I have a German friend. She's awesome. She's become a very good friend of mine. One thing I've noticed with her is that when we meet up, it is always planned, and it's usually planned probably like 2 weeks, sometimes a week in advance, but mostly like 2 weeks in advance. She'll message me and ask, what are you doing on this particular morning in 2 weeks time? Do you have time to catch up for breakfast? And so she'll give me plenty of time in advance, and then, you know, I can put that in my diary and she'll put that in her diary and we'll meet up on this morning. I've also noticed it's the same for play dates for my kids. German parents always like to plan play dates quite far in advance, as well as birthday parties. You could get a birthday party invitation like 2 months before the actual children's birthday. And so yeah, this gives you plenty of time to plan, and it's just so German. Also on the same topic, another cultural difference between New Zealanders and Germans is that I've noticed New Zealanders will say things like, oh, let's catch up really soon, and they may not have any intention of actually catching up with you. Like, they will just say that out of habit or just for something to say. And if you say that to a German, oh, let's catch up really soon, they will be expecting for you to call and, you know, arrange something really soon. This has happened quite a few times with Germans. I've said let's catch up soon, or let's get our kids together soon for a play date, and that person has messaged me like a few days later and said, oh, you wanted to catch up, what day should we catch up? And I kind of just said it for the sake of it. I didn't actually mean we're going to catch up really soon, which is so ridiculous when I think about it. Definitely an unspoken, unwritten rule here in Germany is just follow through with what you say or mean what you say. Okay, so moving on, this unspoken, unwritten rule I learnt pretty early on when I moved to Germany because I was working as a nanny for 2 German children. Always make sure your child is wearing a hat and shoes when they are outside. No matter the weather, they always have to be wearing shoes and a hat. I may be over-exaggerating a little bit here, but I've noticed that German parents are very adamant that their children wear appropriate shoes and headgear for the weather. So if it is winter, they are wearing winter boots and they are wearing a thick woolen hat, and then when it is springtime or autumn time, they are also wearing the appropriate footwear, and they're wearing like a thinner hat, say like a little beanie out of just fabric fabric, so not a woolly one. Then when it gets a little bit warmer, the child is wearing a sun hat, maybe one with a big rim around it, or a cap, usually with a flap at the back to protect their neck. And they're wearing sandals, like really good quality leather sandals, and never bare feet. Like, not like in New Zealand, you will see kids running around with bare feet all the time. No big deal, it's just part of our Kiwi culture. In Germany, it's just like a big no-no if your child is wearing bare feet. Oh my goodness. My kids love to wear bare feet, and sometimes I let them, and I get really weird looks. I even get told off and people saying your child needs to be wearing shoes. I've talked about this before in videos. Also, when it comes to being inside, children in Germany, like most children, wear Hausschuhe, so slippers, and my children don't wear slippers. They don't like wearing them. And when Luca, my youngest, started kindergarten recently, one of the rules is you have to wear slippers, and he did not want to wear the slippers, and it was a real problem. It's like, he can wear his socks, that's fine. I gave him some non-slip socks. The teacher said to me he really needs to wear his house shoes just in case he gets a chill or he slips or something falls on his foot, and luckily he wears them now, but it was not easy to get him in them. Okay, another unwritten rule here in Germany. This is probably really silly, and maybe this is just something I've noticed, and it's not groundbreaking or anything, but something I've noticed is that in Germany it's really unacceptable to go outside with wet hair. It is just not done here in Germany, and I noticed this when my daughter went to swimming lessons, and all of the parents after swimming lessons were drying their children's hair off and making sure their hair was bone dry before they went outside. And for me, I was just going to tie Amelia's hair up like wet. I was just going to towel dry it off a little bit and tie it up in a ponytail, but I noticed that no other parent was doing this. They were making sure their children's hair was completely dry. I guess this makes sense, but I don't think it's a big deal for a child to go outside with their hair a little bit wet. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy thinking that. Also, when my daughter Amelia was little, I would always use a spray bottle, just a spray water bottle when I was doing her hair, just to kind of get all the bumps out. And I just felt like, I don't know, I was just used to doing her hair with a spray bottle, and I just make it a little bit damp and sort of slick it back and do all sorts of styles. But she would always get comments from other kids saying, why is your hair wet? And it would really bother her, and it wasn't like soaking wet, it was just a little bit damp, and it would have dried in a few seconds, you know, well, a few minutes, but she did not like it. To this day, I'm not allowed to put water anywhere near her hair. Even if I like dip the comb in water to slick it back, she won't let me, because she has these horrible memories of kids like not teasing her but just questioning her about having wet hair. And when you're a kid, you don't want to be different, and yeah, she will never let me live that down. So I don't know, I feel like Germans just have a thing about having wet hair outside the house. Also, a few times I would just come out of the shower and just like tie my wet hair up, and I'd be like going to the supermarket or something, and my husband would be like, oh, are you gonna leave with your hair wet? Don't you want to dry it off a little bit? And I'd be like, no, it's fine. And he's like, okay, like, but I could tell it just wasn't really socially acceptable in Germany to go outside with your hair wet. So yeah, just something silly I've noticed. Okay, so another unspoken, unwritten rule I've noticed here in Germany is you always should finish what is on your plate. And it is considered pretty rude if you leave a big portion of your food, especially if you are going to somebody's place for dinner, or even if you're at a restaurant, you should really finish your plate. I've noticed with New Zealanders, if people are full and they don't feel like eating anymore, it is totally normal and acceptable to leave the leftovers on your plate, and you don't have to eat them, and they will be thrown away. And in Germany, this is kind of like a no-go. I've talked about this in another video, but something I noticed pretty soon after moving to Germany is that it's just not acceptable to leave huge amounts of food on your plate to be thrown away. And my husband pointed this out when I would leave food on my plate, he'd say it's actually quite wasteful to not finish your plate, and I noticed he would always finish his plate. And I feel like Germans, they will only put on their plate what they can eat, and New Zealanders, they will just pile a whole lot of food on their plate even if they can't finish it. I also noticed at smorgasbord restaurants, like all you can eat restaurants, Germans are very, very mindful about how much food they put on their plate. And so they don't have the mindset that this is all I can eat, I can pile my plate up, I don't have to finish it. They will only put on their plate what they can eat. Okay, so another unspoken rule in Germany is if you are at somebody's house, a German's house, and they offer you something, say a piece of cake or a coffee or something like that, you make sure you say yes if you want that, because if you say no, they will take your word for it and you won't be asked again. In New Zealand, if you ask the same question and you say no, we won't believe you, and we will ask you like 5 times in case you were just saying that. In Germany, just no means no. And yeah, Germans have very clear boundaries when it comes to yes and no. You just have to be aware that no means no in Germany, yes means yes. If you feel like a coffee, then say that you do, or you won't be offered it again. Okay, so an unspoken rule you should always know if you live in Germany is to have at least 1 bottle of mineral sparkling water, preferably the bubbly type, in your home in case a German guest comes over. So I learnt this the hard way. I have had my children's friends over or German guests over, and I have not had any sparkling water, and they have been disappointed, particularly the children. Many Germans, when they think of water, like drinking water, they automatically think of bubbly, sparkling water, and it's just a little bit socially unacceptable to not have that to offer to your guests if they come over. And so this has happened to me quite a few times. I don't drink the sparkling water very often, and so I don't often have it in my house, and I lately have been always making sure to buy some just to have in case I have guests over. We often have German children over at our place for play dates, and you know, if they want a glass of water, they most likely are asking for sparkling mineral water, and so I like to have that for them. When I have my Kiwi friend, my New Zealand friend over, she asks for tap water. And in New Zealand, if you ask for a glass of water at somebody's house, you just expect to be given tap water. So that's totally normal. But in Germany, it's pretty rude to give somebody tap water unless they're a New Zealander. Also, when it comes to ordering water at a restaurant, don't expect to get tap water, and if you ask for tap water, be prepared to be looked at kind of weirdly. Once in a while I'll go out for dinner with my group of native English speaking expat friends, and one of my friends in particular, she's from the UK, she just only likes drinking tap water, Leitungswasser, and she will always ask for that at the restaurant, and she will always be given a weird look. I remember last time she asked for this, she was given a look of sort of disbelief from the waitress. She was like, kind of, are you sure you want tap water? And she was like, yes, I am sure. And she's just really adamant that she wants the tap water. And I mean, it's a little bit socially unacceptable in Germany. She doesn't care. She knows that it is, but she doesn't care. But if you're somebody that does care about this kind of thing, then make sure you don't ask for tap water at a restaurant in Germany. So anyway guys, I have come to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. It was just a fun sort of light-hearted video. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. Also, I just wanted to say thank you so much for helping me reach 60,000 subscribers. I can't believe I finally made it, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you who has subscribed to my channel. It means the absolute world to me. So if you enjoy my videos and you really like my content, then please consider subscribing. As I said, it means so much to me. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!